Hey guys, today is our second day of patterns. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what we talked about yesterday, and then we're going to learn how to do what's called next and now equations. Okay, so what you learned yesterday, remember that if you have a sequence of numbers, if they increase, you're going to always have addition or multiplication as your operators to find the pattern. If they decrease, you're going to have subtraction or division. If they alternate signs, meaning they go from positive to negative, you're always going to multiply by a negative number. And if it's a combination, meaning let's say they multiply it by 3 and add 1, you're always going to look to multiplication or division first, then addition or subtraction. Okay, so that's just a brief review of what we learned last time. Alright, so next and now equations. Okay, basically next and now equation is a algorithm that helps you figure out what number comes next in the pattern. Okay, so let's say you had this example right here, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 24. And we want to ask ourselves, how do you get to the next number? Well, to get to the next number, you have to take the number you have now. So let's go ahead and say we're at 4 right now. Okay, we have to take our next number, and that's going to equal our number now plus or whatever your pattern is. Okay, so for example, on this one, we're adding 4 every time. Okay, so your next number equals the number you're at now plus 4. Okay, so if you take the number you're at now, let's say it's 4, and you add that into where the now is, let's use green. So you plug that in. We're at 4 right now, and our pattern is adding 4. Well, if you add 4 and 4, that gets you 8, your next number. Okay, so basically the next and now equation is going to give you the next number in the pattern. Okay, so how it's always going to look is next equals now, and then plug in whatever your pattern is right after now. Okay, so let's try a few more. Okay, this time we have 18, 13, and 8, 3, negative 2, negative 7. Okay, so what's the pattern? What's happening every time? Well, of course, it's going down by 5 every time. Okay, so our next and now equation, next equals now, and then go ahead and plug in your pattern. Our pattern this time was subtracting 5, so it's next equals now minus 5. And if you wanted to plug that in, let's say we're at 18, our first number, that would give us next equals 18, the number we're at right now, subtract 5, and our next number would be 13, and it in fact is. Okay, so this is just a simple little way to figure out what the next number is in your pattern. Alright, we got a couple more examples, but before that, got a solid joke for you. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs in a dry, hot desert? Think about it. Think about it. Wilt. You like it. Alright, 2 more examples and we'll practice a few. Okay, so this time our pattern is negative 1, 3, negative 9, 27. And you'll notice it goes from negative to positive to negative to positive. So that should key us that we're multiplying by a negative number for our pattern. We just have to figure what that is. Okay, so we have next equals now. And then we have to multiply by what? Well, of course, you have to multiply by negative 3. Negative 1 times negative 3 gives us 3. 3 times negative 3 gives us negative 9. Okay, so the pattern is multiply by negative 3. So we're going to plug that into our formula here. Next equals now times minus 3. All right. And you have seen some of these before. We're using some of the ones we did yesterday, but we're just using it for next and now. Okay, so let's look at our pattern for this guy. We got 10, 23, 49, 101. What is our pattern? Well, of course, it doesn't go up by the same amount every time, so we know it's probably going to be a combination problem. Okay, so we got multiply by 2 and add 3 for our pattern. So let's go ahead and write our equation. Next equals now, and then simply plug in what your pattern was. Next equals now times 2 plus 3. Next equals now times 2 plus 3. Okay, so that's all we're doing today, figuring out the pattern and then plugging it into our next and now equation. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at these practices. Okay, I'll do the first one for you. You know the pattern on this one is going to be adding 18 every time. So our next and now equation, next equals now plus 18. Hey, I want you to take a look at the next two examples, numbers 2 and 3, and I want you to go ahead and figure out what the pattern is, and then plug it into your next and now equation. All right, see ya.